Just a sound check. Can you hear me? You're on mute, but I'm assuming you hear me.
My bad. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. We're going to have to get you a Yuki Brewing Company T-shirt there, just for. There you go. So good. Okay. Anyways.
Sean gave it to me. It's not an octopus on it.
Okay, perfect. Okay, well, welcome. And I wish to call to order this Harbour Authority meeting on March the 1st at 4 p.m. Thank you. Council would like to acknowledge the Ucluelet First Nation on whose traditional territories the District of Ucluelet operate. Notice of video recording. Audience members and delegates are advised that this proceeding is being video recorded and broadcast on YouTube, which may store data on foreign servers. Looking for approval of the agenda?
So moved.
Seconded by Councillor Hoare. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Looking for the adoption of the September 7th, 2021 Harbour Authority minutes.
Move adoption.
Second.
Second by Councillor Hoare. Any errors or omissions? Okay, hearing and seeing none. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Any unfinished business? Nope, hearing and seeing none. Moving on to public input. Is there anyone via Zoom that would like to ask any questions? Do we have anyone on Zoom?
There are no hands raised.
Okay, thank you. No delegations today, and get rid of my script here. Okay, we have 4 reports today, starting with the Harbour Master Report. Welcome, Mr. Courts. We just ask you to go to the microphone, please.
It's fine. Yeah, I'm sorry. My report's basically a screenshot of what we have done in the last few months. A few big things. We've got rid of the derelict vessel that we've had. It's been on the dock for 15 years, derelict for the last 7. We went down many venues to try to get rid of it and finally found the right hole and got the owner to sign off, DFO to sign off, and we've got rid of it. The other thing was the ghost gear. DFO was looking for initiative to remove all commercial fishing gear that is continually fishing for accountability for that industry. So they decided that they wanted to put that program together, and we've worked with them on that. Other things are just regular maintenance programs on the Whiskey Dock and 52-step docks. Yeah, if you have any questions on anything else. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, so Ms. Fortune has asked me to put a vessel count numbers from September 1st basically to the end of December. As you can see per dock, where the small craft, inner basin, outer basin, and this is vessels in and out. So it's a snapshot. You can go more in depth for type of vessel, commercial, recreational, but this is just an overall. Whiskey Dock, 25 vessels in and out, and 52 steps, 19 in and out for that period of time.
And the contract that you have with that marine spill, was that expiring soon? Maybe just remember the what's the spill response?
West Coast Marine Spill Response Corporation.
Yeah.
I can address that. Right now, we're still we've got an interim head lease going on right now, as well as we still have to complete the additional piling that needs to be replaced down at the outer boat basin. So what we're doing is we are just doing a month-to-month mortgage rate with them, and which is equivalent to what they were paying last year, and we're just working towards that until we get a full head lease.
You have any questions for the Harbour Master?
Yes. Yes, thank you. Through the Mayor. Speaking of that broken piling in the outer boat basin, do we know how that happened?
Specifically, no, I'm not sure how it happened at that point. The piling is quite rotten throughout. More than likely it was banged or smacked by a boat, but the piling was already it was not strong enough, its tensile strength, and it busted. So
you were aware of its condition?
I was aware of its condition for quite a few years, yes, and have had put reports in 2017 to DFO that it needed to be replaced.
Just wondering if there was any way to get compensation from the boat that hit it, but if it was in that bad a shape, probably not.
No, probably not.
Do we are we replacing those creosotes with metal? Is that what do you replace it with now?
With the district-owned whiskey dock, yes. So every piling I take out that's creosote, steel goes back in, but this is DFO's, and although I put that question to them, they're putting back creosote.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Would it be helpful to have a letter come from this board about? We hope that it may not be their policy for it, but if they could start to perhaps take a lead role on more metal as opposed to creosote, would that be something you would support?
I would, definitely.
Councillor Hoare, do you have any comments?
Just that I would prefer to see anything other than creosote in the harbor for the marine life. So I would fully support a letter to that effect that went to DFO.
Shall I make a motion to that effect? I would like to suggest that staff write a letter to DFO from our Harbour Authority requesting them to strongly consider not using creosote but use other materials.
I second that. Do we need to recommend, does the Harbour Authority need to recommend to council? And then council writes letters, and that how it goes?
Mr. Lawrence?
Just
as the Harbour Authority, the Harbour Authority does have the ability to issue a letter on its behalf to the DFO. If the Harbour Authority would like to request council to issue a letter to the same effect, it can do so through resolution, which need to be adopted at council meeting.
Perfect. Well, we'll start with this first letter, and I think we'll save the conversation for our council meeting. We'll wordsmith it a little bit, perhaps with the fact that, anyways, we have a motion on the floor. Councillor Hoare, did you second that?
yes, I did.
Okay. Yeah, all in favor? Opposed? Carried.
If I may, if the Harbour Authority would like council to consider it, a second motion requesting council to consider issuance of a letter to the same effect would be appropriate.
I'll move that quite happily.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. I like that one. And, if
Me
we're doing
too.
it in the district, I think the least we can do is DFO following the standard that we're doing in-house. I don't think it's just because they do that. I don't think it's appropriate that they put creosote. So I'd hate to see the 5 of us councillors down there around the pile machine because I think that, we need to take stand for little wins like that.
Little wins for the little fish.
Yeah, which there are none down there. Okay. Sorry to just get off your report, Mr. Courts, but any other questions for Mr. Courts?
I have one.
Okay.
You said that, I know it's just an overview, the numbers. I'm just curious about the commercial versus non-commercial on the whiskey dock particularly. If you have any idea on those 25 total vessels, how many were?
Yeah, of
Commercial fishing
the
versus-
25, recreational would be sitting in 4, so you're looking at about a 21 count on commercial. Without looking
Okay.
at the numbers, just knowing my clientele, that's where we're sitting at.
Mm-hmm. Thanks.
I'll say that for afterwards. Okay. Well, thank you for that. I think we'll move on. Our next report are provided by the Director of Parks and Recreation. Ms. Fortune, may I invite you to present your first report.
Thank you. Through the chair. What you have before you is the Harbour Master Plan. This is the final draft, as it were. for the Harbour Master Plan. We went back and did some editing and cleaned some of the stuff up, as well as we added an additional Harbour jurisdictional map in the process. And what I'm requesting is that the Harbour Authority receive this plan so that we can move forward on the recommendations and do some long-term planning.
It seems like a very reasonable request.
I will move recommendation 1 that the Harbour Authority receive the Ucluelet Harbour Master Plan as presented.
I will second that.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you.
And I'll move motion recommendation 2 that the Harbour Authority forward the Ucluelet Harbour Master Plan to Council for information.
I'll second that as well.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. I think it's like the official community plan. You're probably quite happy to see it here. And Ms. Fortune, I think, with the consultant and the consultation, I am really happy to see the final product. It's something that's will be very useful here going down the road. Okay. Number 3, resolution tracking, March 2022. Any questions from anyone? Happy to see the signs are going up.
I've got a question,
Mm-hmm.
and this just occurred to me. So I'm excited that the signs are going up as well, and I'm wondering, because they're educational signs, I'm wondering if we included Ucluelet in that, like, for perhaps the names of the fish in the educational signs or something along that line.
So
Just
through
curious.
the chair, with this project, we worked with the aquarium, so we focused more on the scientific names into this process. So that was where that has come from.
That's fine. It was more a curiosity than anything else.
Good question. Anything for you? Okay. 10.4 Harbour Master Contract Review. Okay, what is this? Is this going in camera or is this still in public? No, it's public. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's just the contract itself. Yeah. It's all good, Kev. Don't give me the stare down, okay? It's all good. I feel like I'm in grade 1 and I'm beside you. Okay.
All
Ms.
right.
Fortune.
If I may, through the chair. So what you have in front of you is staff is seeking input from the Harbour Authority for direction in terms of additions or removal of duties in the Harbour Master Contract for the district as outlined in Appendix A in your package. Staff is seeking input from the Harbour Authority in terms of direction of payment for the contract fees and the options for the Harbour Master Contract for the district as outlined in the report. So one of the things that is new to this contract is expectations. And so with that, we're looking at the Harbour Master is expected to carry out his or her duties in a manner that reflects the Ucluelet not only as a working community, but as a resort community. The Harbour Master is expected to communicate with the Harbour Authority and the Director of Parks and Recreation on any projects carried out to determine deliverables and project outcomes. The Harbour Master must provide and submit approval for any projects to the Harbour Authority prior to the undertaking of any works. And lastly, is the Harbour Master will work with the Director of Parks and Recreation and the Harbour Authority to determine the priorities and projects as laid out in the master plan. And then in front of you is some of the excerpts from the Harbour Master Plan. So these are the key, some of the key changes in terms of the workings of how the contract could be carried out. The other area that is presented to you is options for payment. So, and I'm going to look to Mr. Lawrence, and just in case I don't get this quite right, but one of the things that with anything, once we RFP, this project as required through our procurement policy. Anything that you, Harbour Authority, chooses to do will then be a part of the process of negotiations for the RFP. Is that relatively accurate there, sir? Thank you. So right now we operate as a commission fee. So it's working, it's successful, and we've got someone who works hard. So one of the benefits of this is it's good for both the Harbour and for the Harbour Authority. So some other options that Harbour Authority has asked me to look at is a fixed fee contract, and this again would be a fixed fee for the duration of the contract. This model ensures a set contract price for the contractor and the Harbour Authority. So if we have a bad year, then it's reflected that way. But there's a set fixed fee for the contractor. And then a bit of a hybrid, which all of this would be part of negotiation with the RFP. It's an option baseline fixed fee with minimal compensation for the contract services, so what they do, the job, and then an additional compensation rate based on mortgage volume. So if you've got a good year, you're going to get more funds. So that's kind of a quick and dirty in terms of what potential options are. So basically what I'm looking at from the Harbour Authority today with respect to the operations of the Harbour, are there additional requirements? And the Harbour Authority would like to consider adding or removing in Appendix A. Are there any further deliverables with the Harbour Authority would like to see to be included in the Harbour Master contract? And then lastly, with respect to the payments for the contract, which form of payment system does the Harbour Authority wish to include in the RFP, which is commissioned, fixed fees, and a hybrid of fixed fees and commission? And again, that would be part of the negotiations. I would like to also point out that the contract terminates on May 30th? 31st, thank you. So that is, we do have a little bit of a timeline to look at as well. Are there any questions or comments, or I will leave it to you?
Through the chair to staff, was this a 2-year contract or a 3-year contract?
Presently, it was a 3 with an option of 1. Yeah, 3 with an option of 1. So we've just gone through a 4-year contract, and it was something that I would recommend a 3 to 5 year contract as appropriate.
Just a comment, I do like the addition of the expectations into this arrangement. That makes it clear for everybody.
Through the chair, I agree with you. I think it's very clear on both sides in terms of where responsibilities lie.
And for me, to answer your questions, I can't think of any additional requirements to add or remove, and I can't think of any further deliverables to add or remove. And as far as the payment option, I'm happy with the commission option because it is a strong incentive for the Harbour Master to collect fees and be vigilant in that area, and it's a lower risk for the district, as you've stated, because in slower years the compensation reflects the busyness of the harbour. So that would be my 3 answers for you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listing them out. Okay, the spotlight's on you.
I take it you mean me.
Yeah, man. Sorry. Yes.
Just random you, I don't know.
Okay, sorry. Jennifer.
I agree. I was trying to think about whether there was anything additional to add for deliverables or the like, and nothing sprang to mind when I read the report. And I agree with Director McEwen that the commission does give the incentive to be on top of fees on the docks, which is not a bad thing. And I think we were looking at options mainly because of the concern that in years like 2020 there might have been a hit because of less use of the docks because of the pandemic. So I believe that was sort of why we were looking at the options. So I really, like, a straight fixed fee I don't think works, but I could see like a base rate fixed fee plus commission, or straight commission as it is now. I could go with either one of those. Sorry, not a solid answer.
That's all good. You have any additional comments? Or are you good? Okay, thank you. No, I appreciate the report. I think it's important for, I think for the harbor master as well as for the board to understand this. I think these are reasonable expectations. I'm supportive of the status quo, outside of a harbor master becoming a district employee. I think that's where it gets a little bit, the liabilities to that. And, I know that we've tossed that before around about what that would look like. But frankly, the commission base has been there a long time. It seems to work. And I think with the list of Appendix A, I think it will just remove a little bit of the gray area for both parties. One thing regarding risk management, we do have an oil shed down there. Again, it's probably not to do with the contract, but at the end of the day, that risk is solely upon the district. I know that the town well uses it, and it's pretty much a dropping grounds probably for the harbor master. He'd probably love to see that removed, because it's just turned into basically probably something harder to manage. And under the risk, we do have a lot of risks that are in the water, but when I look about the risk that's on land, I think about the oil shed. If that was on private property, there'd be very serious insurance issues there. And probably down at the boat launch, when we have boats, recreational boats pulling out and doing oil changes in the middle of the night on there. So that's the kind of more of an environmental risk management. I would see that. I would just like to make a little caveat add on there for the harbor master. Outside of that, I appreciate the thoroughness that's in here, and I too would be okay with the status quo of commission going forward when you bring that contract to us. Is that what you're looking for? Were you looking for a motion on that, or just some direction verbally? Okay. Yeah.
With respect to this report, there's no need for a motion. It was more direction, and then a request for proposal will be developed. That'll be issued out to the public for interested parties to submit to, and then those submissions will be evaluated by staff and brought back to the Harbour Authority for consideration.
Perfect. I like the process. Are we all good with that? And okay, I think we've done our 3 questions. Thank you for that thorough report once again.
Thank you.
And then we have other business regarding a motion regarding changing the next date, if someone would like to move that.
Actually, through the chair, if I may.
Yep.
I'm also wondering, and I have a conflict on both days actually, and which I didn't realize the May 3rd was a conflict for me as well. I'm wondering if there's a possibility of moving that date to May 2nd. One of the reasons we're trying to move this forward is so that a Harbour Authority has an opportunity to look at the contracts, so that we're not too tight on awarding the contract appropriately. So my question back to you as a Harbour Authority is if we could meet on the Monday, which is May 2nd.
Personally, I'm okay with that. I'm just looking to my right, and
Nothing on my calendar for that day.
Nothing but a Pilates class.
I'll try and get done before that.
Okay.
And
We'll
is
move that to,
is 4 o'clock the appropriate time?
yeah, I think that'll work fine.
Thank you very much.
So I will move that council direct staff to cancel the May 17th, 2022 Harbour Authority meeting and reschedule it for Monday, May the 2nd, 2022, and provide public notice of the change.
Thank you.
And I will second that.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Okay. Other business. I had a little note to myself, and I just where did I write it? No, it's all good. Do you have any other business, Councillor Hoare or Councillor McEwen? Okay. Question period. Looking to you. If we have anyone online via Zoom that would like to ask any questions of the Harbour Authority.
We do not at this time.
Okay. So, we're adjourned. Thank you very much and have a safe afternoon.
Thanks, everyone. Take care.